people who want to know what is the Keith Andrew Network, the whole point of my talk show is to show you that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be, so prove to them to still amount to something.
Hello everybody, my name is Mariama Bojang, the articulate autistic actor, and I have just had the most marvellous time with Keith Andrew of the Keith Andrew Network. We have had an online interview. Well, let's throw out the term interview because it wasn't an interview, it wasn't even a meeting, it was, a date with a friend because, he is a friend. And he has made me feel so comfortable. Just the fact that I'm able to talk like this and, sit like this should tell you everything you need to know about him. So if you are like me, an actor, an artist, or from any walk of life, and you have a message that you want to deliver to others, get on the Keith Andrew Network because he is the man.
So the question I want to ask you first is, what attracted you to begin your career?
Yes, as an adult, I thought about becoming a model. This is when I'm 20. I'm 28 now. So I, applied to a few modeling agencies, but, as you've probably heard, it was, they were charging an upfront fee. So I thought, no, I'm not doing that. Now I'm a lot more savvy, but back then it was a different story. So I found myself applying to an actors agency. It was predominantly a background, extras agency. But at the time, I just wanted to do something. So I applied, and through them, I was only with them a couple of months. And on the second production I was working on, which was a TV miniseries, I was selected for a speaking role, a credited speaking role, PC Smith.
Oh, that's really cool.
After that I thought, ooh, I have to carry on with this.
So the next one I want to ask you, because I'm asking questions from the bottom to the top. I mean, it doesn't have to have to go in order. And number 12, I want to ask you, what has been your greatest achievements?
As an actor?
Yes.
As an actor, my greatest achievement has been my speaking role on Prey as PC Smith. That's the, best that I've done so far, in my opinion. But I've also modelled for several brands. I've modelled for the Imperial War Museum, Boots, Home Instead, Simky Scrubs. These are established brands, but that's more on the modelling side than acting. But as an actor, I advertised myself on a billboard outside a television studio, and I had that up for 2 weeks. I went to the papers about that. Yes, it was featured in local and national publications, and even on a national talk show this morning.
No, congrats.
Thank
And
you.
now, next, I want to ask you, these are actually short questions, but I'm going to ask you two at the same time. Usually I ask one at a time, but these two are really short, so they kind of go together. Number 13, what are you working on right now? And number 14, what's your biggest failure? And did it make you into a better person?
Thank you. My next project will be in April. I had that confirmed only days ago. I'll be playing the character of Snout in William Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. It's a web series adaptation, so I look forward to that. I'm also filming a short film in London sometime in the spring, in which I play the lead character of Evelyn in the short film Discrimination, which is about an autistic woman who is fighting to get her disability recognised by the government, because apparently autism is no longer considered to be a disability. I don't know how accurate that is, but that is the subject matter.
No, I
So
agree.
this will be my first lead role.
No, I wish you the best of luck in it. It's always good to get a start in something, especially when you're passionate about it.
Start somewhere. Yes, we all have to start somewhere. And my biggest failure is, well, I won't lie. I have had moments where I've thought to myself, oh, what am I doing? You know, this is taking far too much out of my time. Is it really worth it? Could I not just do it as a hobby, etc., etc.? But, you know, these moments are fleeting. Most of the time I'm fine. I realise that this is very much part of the process, whether I like it or not. And as long as I remain active, which I am doing in between work, I'm happy to go with the flow. And I realise that there is no such thing as a full-time working professional actor. And that is true across the board.
It's true. Being an actor is not a 9-to-5 job. I mean, it is and it isn't. It isn't. It is. That's because you are always a dissident. You're always doing self-taping. You're doing that 24/7. But is it a type of job where you go punch in and punch out and get paid? Absolutely not. But it is 24/7 because you are working your ass off to say, this is what I'm good at. I'm good enough for this part. So yes, it is a full-time job, as in the aspect of you're doing all the prep work. Is it actually a job where you're getting paid? Absolutely not. And that's, I don't know, it would be nice if you actually are a good actor. Like, for an example, Robert, I'll give you a couple of names. Chris Edwards, Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., yeah, Holly Berry. You know, these are great actors, and you would think they would do like one movie after another, but they are just like everybody else, and they have to audition, and it is. I'm trying to find the words because it does sound like it is a lot of work because you're constantly auditioning, but it isn't a 9-to-5 job where you're getting paid for.
No, unless you are on a soap opera. But even that depends, you know, if you're a day player or, you know, if you're only in for a few episodes, if you become a series regular or a main cast member. But even that is subject to contracts, and contracts have time limits and they have to be renewed every so often.
No, absolutely. And my talk show fits into that. You know, I'm not getting paid for this. And I network. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Mandy. I'm on Backstage. That's where I get most of my casts and castmates and all those other stuff. But I'm doing videos every single. Don't worry, I have bad effects on people. I'm doing this video every single day. And it's the same thing like being an actor, because I'm always doing an interview, and this is kind of like an audition tape.
It is.
So the next question I want to ask you is, how do you
handle creating your own content?
No, absolutely, and hopefully it all works out. That's all you do. You constantly, you're on. This would be a book. Every day you're constantly auditioning to things work out. But the question I want to ask you is, how do you handle stress and pressure?
Ooh, now that is a very good question, because now, you know, as in recently, I've been handling pressure a lot better. For instance, only today, my course tutor, because I do acting courses as well, I'm constantly remaining active. My acting tutor contacted me on Instagram. He DM'd me and asked me if I could film a video to go on the agency's TikTok. You know, could I film a series of short clips and send them to him? They were of me, you know, setting up my self-tape, so the lighting and, you know, all the other equipment, the mobile stand. And so I managed to do that. But had that happened maybe even only 3 months ago, I would have felt a surge of anxiety, thinking, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do it like that, etc. But today, I honestly didn't feel anything. I thought, oh, that's good. He's contacted me. He would like me to do something. I'm happy to help. So I did just that, and it went very smoothly. My mother recorded me, and we didn't have to do any other. We didn't have to take any more takes. You know, we just did it, and it was fine. It was over within 20 minutes or so. So yes, I'm handling pressure, much better now because I've trained myself to do so.
Now, the next one I want to ask you, are you a rough actor or do you like getting down and dirty? Or do you like to be one of those pretty actors that you don't want to break a nail?
I like to be a pretty actor because I am pretty, if I do say so myself. But yes, I'm happy to do anything. I've put on all my casting sites that, I'm willing to perform nude, only professionally, simulate sex scenes, same-sex scenes. I can work with dogs and cats, all sorts.
Well, I do a lot of fan-made parodies, and I would love to have you part of them. For people who watch the Keith Network, it isn't just about interviewing actors. For the younger audience from the age of 5 to, I don't know, 15 to 20, I'm a big fan of Dumbo and Jumble Book. So when I do voiceovers, and you guys reenact the lines, I would cut them and cut and paste, and it's like an audition tape. But I'm thinking, why not take it one step further? Why not do live accents? And I'm like, okay, well, they can do a human pyramid, but while they're doing that, they reenact lines. One person can be the matriarch, one person can be Percy, the other one can be Guinea, and they're pretending to be that character. So, and you're repeating the lines, but you're actually doing a live action stunt. Would that something you'd be interested in, or you just like reading the lines?
Both. I'm happy to learn lines and to improvise.
No, absolutely. We can definitely talk about that. I had one team so far that did the live action demo one in Jumble Book. I'm still looking on people to be a part of that. So we can definitely talk about that afterwards. But the other one I want to ask you is, you mentioned you are an actress for a couple of years now. How many times have you been interviewed, and is this your first time?
This is my third podcast. And all of these podcasts that I've done so far, including this one, have taken place in less than a year. I'd never thought to do podcasts, but now I'm doing them a lot more.
No, it's funny. There's because I live in you live in the UK, I live in the US, in New York City, in Manhattan. There's a company called Manhattan Neighborhood of Broadcasting, and that's like, oh, well, how much would it be to rent a studio? Because my next goal is, and actually I'm going to talk to you about the pandemic as soon as I'm done with this part. I want to do my interviews in person because I've been doing this for 10 years. Thanks to you, your episode. Actually, I can look right now. You are episode 1008. So thanks to you, we're up to 1008 episodes. And I'm always thinking, no, I thank you for that. And you can see over the 10 years the process in the video clips, the whole thing, the whole shebang changed. But my next goal is actually sitting down in person with the guests and doing the studio. But now that goes into my next question I want to ask you. This is going to sound like an oxymoron, but a lot of people always said, I wish I can stay home work from home, never leave my home. I would probably have a nervous breakdown if I could. It's like being under house arrest if I could never leave home. But now, because of the pandemic, you kind of got what you wanted. You work from home, you have things shipped to you. I like going to the beach. I like going out and being interactive. I don't want to sit home with my thumb up my ass for the rest of my life. I want to be socialized. So I want to ask you, from the United Kingdom, how has the pandemic impacted you mentally and physically? And are you ready for this crap to be over?
Thank you for that, Keith. It hasn't affected me at all mentally or physically, because I, as far as I'm aware, have not had it. But it hasn't affected me mentally because I haven't allowed it. I said to myself when it, was first realized, that I am not going to stress about this. I'm not going to be anxious about this. And I'm so glad and so proud of myself that I did not. Otherwise, I would have wasted 3 years of my life feeling anxious for nothing.
No, you're right.
So it hasn't affected me. And on the contrary, I enjoyed the lockdown. I went out every day to go walking. I discovered many beautiful places that I didn't know even existed, and they're right next to me. Yes. Takeaways were still open, so I was still able to eat my favorite foods. I could still interact with my neighbors from a distance, of course.
Yeah.
And, luckily we live in the age of the internet, so, I was never short of human contact.
No, thank God for that, right? Imagine
Absolutely.
You mentioned you're 28, so see 28, 29, 30, 31, 32.
Mm-hmm.
With a 70-year difference, I'm 35. So I felt like 7 year difference between us. Can you imagine if this was in the early 2000s or if this was in the 90s? That would be hell.
It would. No internet. Of course, there was television, so that may suffice.
But
Yes.
how many times can you watch TV and play video games? My brother always says, I'm the youngest out of 4 brothers and 1 sister. I watch the same thing over and over and over, play the same game over and over. But what was it? Repeating the same action over and over and expecting different results is a sign of insanity. But I had fun playing the wrestling game over and over. It was WWF. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I listen to the same music a lot of the time. I watch the same films most of the time. I'm picky like that. I think that's probably to do with being autistic, the repetitiveness, but it's not a problem for me or anybody else, because I don't impose it on other people.
No, I agree. And it's not like I play as the same character every single day. One day I play as Bret Hart. One day I play as Owen Hart and beat the whole game. So every day you play as a different character and you get different results and try to beat your time. And it's fun. I remember one time I played Pokemon from 12 o'clock in the afternoon to all the way to 8 o'clock at night. I have no social life. I am really boring. But it's fun if you don't.
I don't find you boring.
I appreciate that. What about you?
I'm enjoying myself, can't you tell?
What is the
I'm
one?
being very open and honest.
And that's what the KeithAndrewNetwork Network's about. As I mentioned yesterday, it's not a Scooby-Doo thing. Being here, it's hashtag be real, be yourself, make a new friend. And you don't have to, and I do want to talk about this real fast. You mentioned you have a disability, but I want to say this one thing. You do not have to have a disability to be on my show. And I know I talk with my hands. You do not have to have a disability to be on my show. Just the fact you're taking the time to be on the show where the host has disabilities That's all it is. And anyway, that's another can of the BS we can get into
Words.
later. But let me ask you about you're an actress and you're a fantastic actress. How,
Thank you.
for someone like yourself who deals with difficulties, would you consider yourself an inspiration for people with disabilities?
Yes, and that's not my ego speaking. I have been told by many different people that I'm an inspiration to them and their children if their children have autism or any other condition. And, that's where I get my motivation from, as well as myself. You know, that's what I always go back to when I have those fleeting moments of doubt and questioning if I want to continue doing what I do. But then I think, well, I already have, an audience and I do have fans. I have a support network and they would like me to carry on because it's for them. I am a performer after all, and I perform for an audience. So no, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to continue.
Well, that's why I do the Dumbo stuff. I do the Jumble Book lines. Even if you're saying it or you're actually reenacting it, there's an audience for
Mm.
everything. There's an audience for Dumbo.
Right.
There's an audience for human pyramids. So
Oh,
for
good.
me, it's entertainment. So it isn't just about disabilities. It's entertainment of what I can bring to you that's entertainment wise. But with the
Of
4 minutes,
course.
I'm going to pass it over to you. What would you like to talk about? And last question I do want to ask you. I want you to
Okay.
be brutally honest. When I first approached you to be a
Yeah.
guest on my talk show, what made you say yes? How do you feel now? And where do you recommend it? Passing the show over to you.
Well, I wanted to make a new friend. I enjoy making friends. I have been networking a lot lately, through social media and in person. And, I wanted to get my voice out there, not just for me, but for anybody else who has autism or a condition or who is just, who feels as though they are struggling and would like, somebody to talk to or to reach out to. They can do that because I'm, being an actor, I am available most of the time. So I'm here and, anybody who wants to talk to me can, whether they know me or not. That's why I wanted to be on your show because I knew that this would be a perfect platform for me to express myself as I am doing.
Absolutely. And my new role for my talk show, and I am guilty of interviewing one person after another, and because I wanted to reach 1,000. But I
Mhm.
realized I had one guy, Ron Reisman, on the show like 3 times. I had someone else on 2 times, and it weren't getting any views. So the new role on the Keith Andrew Network, you have to
Mhm.
get over 100 or more views because the reason for the 100 or more views is if your audience watches it, I know
Mhm.
people will watch the episode because I know this person. This person's really funny, or he is really sarcastic, and it's really entertaining. But if you're
Mhm.
interviewing someone, they're like, "Who the hell is this guy? Oh, why is he acting this class?" And no one knows who this is. It's, you know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah.
going where the numbers go. So I'm going to interview the same people only. I give you an example real fast, but then we can talk off the air. If someone
Yes.
has 4.9 friends, then I know hypothetically, they
Mhm.
should get over 100 views because they have a massive audience. But then
Yes.
again, at the same time, you can pay for that. But anyway, it's not about me. But
No.
do you have any funny stories? Do you have any funny pranks that you ever pulled on people?
Um, Not that I can think of off the top of my head. None that are worthy of remembrance. When I was a girl of 9 or 10, I did cover my brother with paint actual paint that is used for painting, and it took 3 days to come off. 3 days of washing and scrubbing.
I remember my grandfather wanted to kill me. There was a bee when I was over at his house, and there was a bee right in front of my face. So I was about 6, 8 years old, and I had the hose, and I tried to spray the bee directly. Instead of spraying the bee, I hosed down my grandfather, and he was really pissed. But yeah, that's. But wrapping up, I do have two questions for you off the air.
Okay.
But your information will be on the bottom of the screen with social media description. This will be played on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and all social media. So once we get 100 views, we definitely will do a part 2. If I do special events, you're more than welcome to be a part of it. But wrapping up our interview segment, it was an honor and privilege having you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 2. So until then, catch you later.
See you.